I grew up hearing stories about Lake Lanier, even before I ever saw it. People didn't talk about it like a normal lake. They didn't mention fishing or swimming first. They talked about what happened there, about people who went in and never came out, about boats found drifting with no one inside, about divers who refused to go too deep. I never believed any of it, at least not until the summer I worked there. I was 29 and desperate for money. After losing my job, I picked up seasonal work wherever I could. A friend told me about a temporary position at a small marina on Lake Lanier. Night security. Easy money, he said, mostly sitting in a booth, checking cameras, making sure no one trespassed after hours. Nothing ever happens, he told me. That should have been my first warning. The lake was massive. When I drove there the first day, I didn't expect it to feel so heavy. The water stretched endlessly, dark green and still, like it was holding something down beneath the surface. Even during the day, it didn't sparkle like other lakes. It absorbed light. The marina manager, a tired man named Carl, gave me a quick tour. No swimming after sunset, he said. No boats out past 10. And if you hear something weird at night, he paused. You didn't. He laughed after saying it, but his eyes didn't match. My shift started at 9 p.m. By then, the crowds were gone. The docks creaked softly as they settled. The water lapped against the wood in slow, irregular rhythms. Crickets screamed from the trees, then suddenly went silent, as if something had passed through. I sat in the security booth, watching the cameras. Most of them showed empty docks. Still water, nothing unusual. At first, around 10:30 p.m., I noticed something strange. One camera pointed toward the far dock, the one that extended deeper into the lake than the others. The image flickered slightly. I leaned closer to the monitor. Something was moving, not a boat, not an animal. It looked like ripples, but they weren't spreading outward. They were converging, like something beneath the surface was pulling the water inward toward a single point. I stared at it for a long time. Then the ripples stopped. The water went flat again. I told myself it was nothing. Lakes move, currents shift. The mind invents patterns in darkness. Still, I didn't take my eyes off that camera for the rest of the night. Nothing else happened. I went home uneasy, but unharmed. The second night was worse. I arrived just before sunset. The sky was orange and purple, reflected dimly in the lake. A couple packing up their boat waved at me as they left. Their laughter echoed strangely across the water, stretching longer than it should have. Once night fully settled, the lake changed. The air felt colder near the water. Not just cool, cold, as if the lake was breathing out something ancient. Around midnight, I heard a sound, not from the speakers, from outside, a splash. I stood and stepped out of the booth, flashlight in hand. The docks were empty, no boats tied up where the sound came from. The water moved slowly, disturbed only by gentle waves. Then I heard it again, a splash, closer. It wasn't random, it was rhythmic, controlled, like footsteps but underwater. I shined my flashlight across the surface. The beam barely penetrated the darkness. And then I saw it, a hand, just for a second, pale, human. Fingers stretched upward from beneath the surface, as if pressing against invisible glass. Then it vanished. The water closed over it like it had never been there. I staggered back, heart pounding. I wanted to run. I wanted to scream. Instead, I stood frozen, flashlight shaking in my grip. I told myself it was my imagination, but I didn't go back outside for the rest of the shift. The next morning, I looked up Lake Lanier. Not the tourist site, not the boating guides, the history. Before the lake existed, there was a town there, a real town. Homes, roads, churches, cemeteries. Mostly black families who were forced out when the area was flooded to create the lake in the 1950s. They didn't move everything. They didn't move everyone. Graves were left behind. Buildings were partially demolished, then submerged. Trees were cut halfway, leaving sharp stumps beneath the water. The lake wasn't just water, it was a drowned town. By the fourth night, I was seeing things even on the cameras. Figures standing at the end of the docks, shapes that looked like people, until the camera flickered and they were gone. Faces that appeared reflected in the water, staring up toward the lens. I reported it to Carl. He didn't look surprised. "You see them too?" he asked quietly. I stared at him. "You're not supposed to," he added. "They usually wait longer." That night I didn't want to be alone, but there was no one else. Around 2:47 a.m., the temperature dropped suddenly. The air felt thick, heavy, wet. My breath fogged in front of me. Every camera went black, all at once. The monitors hissed softly. Then one,